我告诉你，你必须得养我啊！
我没有说是不养你们，我把你们送到养老院去，行不行？爸，你看我跟你说啊，你现在走，我把你送到养老院去，行不行？我也算人基因了啊。
30 years ago, his ruthless parents abandoned their son on the street. Now, as the two elderly parents are old, sick, and in need of care, they suddenly remember the child they once threw away and come to him demanding support. Faced with the very parents who once abandoned him, how should this man respond after 30 years? Will he agree to their demands?
30年前，他们把我抛弃在垃圾桶旁边，被居委会的王大妈把我捡起来，送给我现在的养父养母，我没有说错吧？是吧？30年后，就是今天，他们没地方去了，过来找我，说是让我养活他们。我说行，我把你们送到养老院去啊！我出于良心上过意不去，毕竟你们生了我。
Mr. Lee, standing before the camera, said during the filming process, when he was just 4 years old, his biological parents cruelly abandoned him. As a child, he couldn't understand their actions. With no way to find home, young Mr. Lee was forced to wander the streets. Fortunately, Auntie Wong from the neighborhood committee took him in, saving him from starving to death. Before she passed away, Auntie Wong entrusted him to his current adoptive parents, who have treated him as their own child ever since. Mr. Lee grew up, became sensible, and through his hard work and perseverance, achieved modest success in his career. To show gratitude and repay Auntie Wong and his adoptive parents for all the years of care and love, Mr. Lee decided to take care of them for the rest of their lives. But just at this moment, his biological parents suddenly showed up, demanding that he support them instead.
我跟你说，你放开行不行啊？你们想干嘛？想干嘛？
我告诉你，你今天养不养老爸老妈？
你们不是我爸，不是我妈，知道吧？
我当时我今天也是没办法，你知道吗？那时候也还很小，你治不得。但是当时我确实很凶狠，有孩子都治不治。最起码我把你送出去还能捡一条命，对吧？
Faced with the biological parents who once heartlessly threw him away, Mr. Lee feels absolutely no emotional connection toward them. But to his surprise, his father outright said, if Mr. Lee refuses to support him, he'll cling to him for the rest of his life anyway. After all, they're old now and have nothing else to do. Hearing such words from his own father left Mr. Lee completely stunned. Abandoning him so cruelly back then was bad enough, but now showing up in old age demanding support? That's simply impossible. Mr. Lee could never understand how his parents could have thrown him away so heartlessly, so he confronted them directly, asking why they did it. But the words that came out of their mouths enraged him so much that he turned around and walked away on the spot.
我儿子有孙子，他们要去养老院呢。
我不是你儿子，知道吧？
要孤寡老人才去养老院。
我跟你说了，你看我不是你儿子，你们再不要把你们当年把我抛弃那一刻起，我们就没有任何关系了。
不是你说的算，还是我们说的算？
你看，
是我生的。
对，我是你生的，
逃离不了我的责任。
When confronted by Mr. Lee about the past, his parents didn't hesitate to tell the truth. His mother said their financial situation was too bad at the time, and they simply couldn't afford to raise Mr. Lee. He was just a burden. After discussing it, the couple decided to leave it all to fate. Upon hearing this as the reason for being abandoned, Mr. Lee turned and left without looking back. His mother quickly grabbed his arm to stop him, saying all they asked was for him to provide them with food and shelter. After all, blood is thicker than water. Even if they were heartless and cruel back then, for Mr. Lee to truly cut off that blood tie and ignore them would be a difficult choice for his conscience. After some thought, Mr. Lee made a decision to send them both to a nursing home. But he never expected that once he mentioned this, the two elders actually had other plans in mind.
30年后，就是今天，他们没地方去了，过来找我，说是让我养活他们。我说行，我把你们送到养老院去啊！我出于良心上过意不去，毕竟你们生了我。对吧？但是事实摆在这里，你们没有养我。
我让你养我呢，你送到养老院来，送到养老院，我自个儿不知道养老院在哪是吗？
养老院我就是不去。
养老院的钱我来掏呀，对吧？你们后半辈子在养老院的所有的费用我来承担。我觉得我做的可以了。
Just as Mr. Lee mentioned sending them to a nursing home, his mother immediately objected. She said the whole reason they came this time was to live with Mr. Lee and enjoy family happiness. Not only did she expect to help take care of the grandchildren, but she also wanted Mr. Lee's wife to show proper filial piety and serve them like a daughter-in-law should. Hearing their true intentions and expectations, Mr. Lee firmly refused. Sending them to a nursing home was already his bottom line. If they couldn't accept that, they could just go wherever they pleased. Saying that, Mr. Lee walked off, ignoring their protests. He thought that after being refused, the matter would come to an end. But to his shock, the next day, his biological parents showed up directly at his house, clearly intending to stay long-term.
你还天天生没？你天天到我家里来闹啊！到我公司去闹，我领导、同事还有我的邻居全部都知道啊！我要不要这个脸啊？
你知道你就好，
我给
知道我这个妈就好。
你不是我妈。
在审讯上面，你就是我儿子。
Faced with such biological parents, Mr. Lee was so furious he could barely breathe, and he immediately tried to throw them out. But at that moment, his mother suddenly began to put on a pitiful act, crying bitterly and expressing deep regret, saying she shouldn't have abandoned him and let him suffer so much. But things had come to this point already. Only Mr. Lee truly knew how he had lived through the past 30 years. Seeing through the ugly faces of his parents, Mr. Lee could no longer stand having them in his home for even a single minute. He insisted on kicking them out. It was then that his mother declared she would go to Mr. Lee's workplace and expose him, telling everyone he was ungrateful and unfilial, even threatening to sue him in court. After repeated harassment and disruption of his daily life, Mr. Lee simply let them say whatever they wanted. In the end, Mr. Lee forced them out of his home. In the end, after being pestered and harassed again and again by his biological parents, Mr. Lee realized that relying on kindness and personal boundaries was no longer enough to stop their unreasonable demands and moral coercion. He understood that the so-called blood ties had been severed the day they abandoned him 30 years ago. Now, what he needed to protect was the family and peaceful life he had built for himself. Therefore, Mr. Lee ultimately decided to take legal action to formally refuse the obligation of support, and to draw a clear line between him and the parents who had forsaken him, once and for all.
Ultimately, this is a battle between giving birth and raising. 30 years ago, they said we had no choice and threw the child away. 30 years later, they think one sentence, "We're your parents," is enough to demand support. How does that make any sense? It's not that Mr. Lee is heartless. He was even willing to pay for their nursing home. That alone is something many people wouldn't do. But his parents weren't satisfied. They insisted on moving into his home, expected his wife to serve them, and even threatened to make a scene at work or go to court. This isn't family, it's extortion. To be honest, whether someone supports their parents or not is not something that can be demanded, nor decided by blood alone. Do you think Mr. Lee did the right thing? If it were you, and you face parents like this, would you support them or not? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. See you next time.